Good day everyone, my name is JBMM from BSHM3B. So for today's video, I will going to report the Module 6, the Task, Influence, Environment, and its contents. Topic outline. 6.1, the immediate business or task environment. 6.2, the 5 forces model. 6.3, the dynamics of competition and strategic groups. 6.4, environmental scanning and hospitality tourism firms. 6.1, the immediate business or task environment. The immediate of task environment consists of customers, competitors, suppliers, and regulators. Deal 1958. These four components of the task environment influence the firms in the industries. Here, industry is defined as consisting of firms that offering similar products and services that could be considered close substitute. Customers or buyers. Customers or buyers form an important component of the task environment, comprising different groups with different needs, wants, and buying power. Customer groups with similar needs are defined as part of a segment, and their buying behavior influences firms to position their products and services accordingly. Based on this, from tourism business perspective, business and leisure travelers could be considered major customer groups in which subsegments could be defined. These customer groups could be categorized based on propensity to consume various products and services. Luxury versus economy hotel products and services. Propensity to consume standardized versus customized products and services. Major hotel chain versus boutique hotels. And propensity to consume products and services based on location. Airport hotels versus city hotels. So sa industry ng hospitality, when it comes to business, the customers or buyers is very important kasi hindi matatawag na business kung walang customers. For example, about sa business ng air travel, ang main customers talaga dito ay yung nag-travel sa ibang bansa or nag-travel sa ibang lugar. Competitors form an important elements of the task environment. The positioning strategy of the firm defines with whom it competes within the market segments. In the tourism industry, example of competitor hotel firms in a given market include Transcorp Hilton Hotels and Sheraton Hotels. The competitive dynamics in a given industry depend on the industry and the product life cycles. So, sa competitors naman, dito papasok ang strategy ng isang kampanya or business sa iba ding kampanya. For example, sa Transcorp Hotels and Sheraton Hotels, they offer the same goods and services to their customers. Suppliers form an important components of the business of task environment by supplying raw materials and finished product and goods to the firm, including the tourism industry. Quality-related issues come to the fore when suppliers are not able to deliver goods and finished product to the firms as agreed. The efficacy with which firms connect with suppliers is of paramount importance if they are to respond to customers' needs and wants. In fact, firms should request frequent feedback from suppliers on how prospective goods and raw materials can be made available so future opportunities can be tapped. This is essential for firms to be able to sustain a competitive advantage in the long term. So, from the word suppliers, they are supplying raw materials, finished products, and goods and businesses. The role of suppliers is they are to respond customers' needs and wants. Hindi din naman natin masasabi na yung business hindi mabubuo kung walang suppliers. Regulators are an extension of the legal environment that set policies, rules, and regulations so firms in a given economy or industries are engaged in healthy competition. Regulators set the tone for competing firms in markets through policies that ensure that there are no copyright or patent infringements, that antitrust related issues are not a problem, that price fixing or other such issues do not give unfair advantage of firms, and that there are no infringement related codes and other regulations. So, a legal environment that set policies, rules, and regulation. Kasi sa pamamagitan nito, may iwasan natin na wala talagang copyright sa isang business. So, napaka-importante talaga sa bawat business ay may policies, rules, and regulation na ipapatupad. The five forces model, based on the competitive forces that emanate within the industrial environment, Porter 1979-1980 developed the five forces model, which can be summarized as follows: potential competitors, competitiveness among industry incumbents, buyer influence, suppliers influence, substitute products. Potential competitors. This threat is high when industry to entry is low. Establish firms hold their position and discourage firms from entering the markets through price and margin reduction. This threat is low when firms have established best practices in marketing, management, products, and administration. High brand loyalty enables firms to mitigate risk. Potential competitors. So, example is yung McDonald's and Subway. So, 'di ba? They offering the same product, which is the burger. Pero nag-stand out pa rin ang McDonald's kaysa sa Subway. So, to be able to understand the potential competitors, we need to know who are our customers and what they are offering, because it can help us to make products to stand out. Competitiveness among industry incumbents. This trend is high when the industry growth rate has slowed down. It is low if the environment is liberal, since especially in growing markets. Firms avoid direct competition in mature markets. Competitiveness among industry incumbents is to be able to understand this type of forces model. It is determine the level of competition existing in particular industry. The competition is high when businesses selling products. Buyer influence is thread when buyers' buying power and influence of the firm are high. Buyer influence come into the form of price discounts, demand for better quality and level service, especially after sale services. Buyer could switch to the other products and services quite easily when switching costs are low. So, buyer influence refers buying products that demands the price discount. If the consumer is price sensitive, then the buyer power is high. If the customers purchase large volumes of products from the buyer, their power is high. Supplier influence. The threat from supplier is high when they can charge higher prices for raw materials or finished goods. Threat arises when the few suppliers can provide customers goods with access to unique raw materials, technology, and other relevant resources. Threat is high when suppliers can control the quality and price for raw materials. When supplier was higher influence, incumbent firms have no choice but accept or switch suppliers, which is difficult if suppliers few exist. So, in these forces, suppliers influence how a business operates by raising or offering higher price of goods. So, for example, sa isang store ng nagbebenta ng computer. Tapos yung supplies nila na mga material is limited lang. So, kailangan nila ito itaas ang presyo para mabenta. Substitute products. Fad, trends, and consumer buying behavior influences market to pursue alternative products. Substitute products are considered when markets are exposed to trends. So, substitute product, every business faces some form of competition. Most of the competition comes from substitute product is one that serves the same purposes as another products in the market. So, for example, nagbibenta ka ng mask ng black. So, walang available na mask na black. So, ang uso ngayon is yung may mga BTS na design. So, kailangan mo mag-substitute ng products para at least may profit ka at may bibenta mo. So, the greater the number of substitute product in the market, the more competition exists in the industry.
The third topic is about the dynamics of competition in strategic groups. Competing firms engage in rivalrous actions in markets where customers have higher bargaining power. As firms compete among themselves for market share, they develop similarities and differences in terms of strategic posture and market orientation. Firms that are similar in terms of strategy could be grouped based on a certain firm's characteristic. Hutton and Scandal observed this is the brewing industry, and the same phenomenon has been documented in other industries, including restaurant and hotel industries. I believe also that the same firms competing are commonly in hotel and hospitality industry. So in business, customers are having the power and source of the rising income that the management expected. If you're having competitors that offer similar products and services, expect that you have common target market. Firms that are part of a given strategy group are almost the same in terms of products and services, competing directly against each other. These firms' products and services are close substitutes for one another, often part of the options that customers choose among during transactions. Since the competition among firms in a given group is direct, firms often fight for a position in these groups, including access to resources and supplier-buyer contacts. It should be noted that the similarities amongst firms in a given strategic group leads to difference across group as the firms in each group have different traits and behaviors. Firms need to consider their position in groups based on which companies they want to compete against based on their strategic orientations in those markets. So, commonly, company expected they have the same strategy in planning towards to their target market. So, especially if they have common or they have the same services and products offer. So, parang magkakaunahan talaga yan sila at minsan nagkakaroon ng conflict regarding kung sino yung supplier, contact number ng supplier, kung ano yung isusupply. Kasi nga, they have common services and products. So, paunahan na lang. So here comes to the firms are going to evaluate the effective strategy marketing for the smooth transactions of selling their products and services towards on their target markets. So here, it explained well. For instance, in the hospitality industry, hotels like Hilton and Marriott offer similar products in global market based on their positioning strategy. These hotels that are part of strategy group have similar firm characteristics including target markets, product service bundles, core competencies, and the type of contractual arrangement used as vehicles of growth in global markets. A typical example of strategy group is fast food restaurant firms like McDonald's and Burger King that offer similar products and services in global markets. They have similar positioning strategies, products and services, and competencies required to succeed on their products market. Like it was said, like McDonald's and Burger King, it's a fast food, offer similar product and services in global market. So, they have to think individually, they have to think how they are going to have a better strategy that the customers choose them or choose McDonald's, either McDonald's or Burger King. So, individually, they have to think the effective strategy on how they're going to sell the products because they have common offered to their target market, the products itself and the services. In the fourth topic, it said that the environmental scanning and the hospitality tourism firms. Firms like company managers constantly scan the environment to keep abreast of developments in the external environment. The process of constantly keeping track of changes in the firm's external environment to access the trends that create opportunities or pose threats to the firm is called environmental scanning. According to Ocumus Altinay and Chato 2010, it said that as earlier discussed, the trends in the general environment impact a firm task environment. Owing to this, firms managers should track down the macro environment trends and their impact on the task environment. The effect of these forces on the firm needs to be further tracked to determine how they impact on the business. So it is important to evaluate the target market demands, especially global, and how it affects to the environment or the local businesses, especially the trends, because in business change is constant. It depends on the demands of the customers or the target market, and it has impact on the target profit of the business or a certain management or company. Historically, environmental scanning was considered the responsibility of top management. Yes, of course, because if you have planned to have a business, it is important to know what is the demand of your target market. Hindi naman pwede na magtatayo ka lang ng negosyo, hindi mo alam kung anong gusto ng mga target market mo. Like, gusto nila ng, yung area na yun, gusto pala ng mga isda, pero yung ibebenta mo doon is mga tinapay. So, hindi pwede yun. The literature Jogaratnam and law refers to such managers as boundary spanners who constantly seek, assimilate, and disseminate information so the firm can process and use it in its key decision-making frameworks. Whereas such approach would work in a stable environment, given that firms are internationally exposed in global market, leading to an uncertain and dynamic firm environment. The need for managers at all levels of the firm's hierarchy to scan the relevant information is extremely important. Moreover, the type of information required by managers at different levels varies, giving rise to the notion that environment scanning is required at all levels of the firm's hierarchy, including frontline employees. Owing to this, managers and employees at various levels of the firm's hierarchy are required to be information seekers or boundary spanners so they can immediately spot and access trends and guide their units in the real value creation process. This notion is supported by hospitality researchers as well, Ocumus 2004. Yes, it is important. Hindi yun pwede sa isang company kasi meron talagang kasi naka-assign kung sino yung sino yung magdetermine what is trends in globally, what is globally, ano yung sikat, ano yung trends globally, for them to have guide. But sabi ni Ocumus, like everyone, according to manager, the management employees, parang much better kapag lahat sila magkukuha ng information to seek informations about the trends so that they can easily recreate or re-exchange, or what you call that, have new strategies for them to be guided to their to what kind of products and services that their target market demands. Many firms are aware of the importance of scanning, but they do not formalize activities related to scanning. Scanning largely remains an informal activity which is seen in the case of hospitality and tourism firms in Costa and Tierra 2000 and Jugaratman and Low 2006. Based on the need to seek information, managers may use one of the two approaches, the outside-in approach or the inside-out approach, as defined by Fahe and Narahanan in 1986 and supported Jugaratnam and Low 2006. The former approach is about scanning the environment to seek information about the various trends from a macro perspective. The latter is more about scanning the environment to seek specific information about the trends to address a specific need or situation that has been internally defined. So, as what I mentioned earlier na, yun na nga, hindi ka pwede tatayo ng business like in a company, especially in a big company like hotels. They have really to scan what is the trends globally because it affects on their services and products that they offer to their target market. Like for example, yung trends pala now is yung parang mga sliding pool. So parang mag-iisip ka kung ano yung anong meron sa pool mo, like gusto ng mga target market mo, like gusto nila mga may slide yung pool mo. So you're going to change. Because in business, change is constant, so it is necessarily for you to earn profit.